on the line. Daniel, I appreciate you taking some time. I don't think we've had the opportunity to chat just yet, but I hope things are going well in your world.
No, things are great. Just kind of getting into the week and just ready to get after it.
Well, certainly that was the case on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. You guys get the overtime win, a real gutty performance. Certainly. How did you experience your first home game in the new uniform?
You know, it was awesome. The crowd was getting into it. It was getting really loud, especially when we got into overtime. When the defense went 3 and out, they were revved up. So that's always great to see. But it was an awesome environment, and just to be able to get that first win at home, that's a great start. And then just kind of getting ready into the next week, and just kind of hopefully we can keep this ball rolling.
Yeah, for you guys, it was always going to be a process with as many new faces as were put into that offensive line room, and obviously the Titans incorporating a new system this year. But it does seem like you guys, while you and talking to Vrabel and some of y'all afterwards in the locker room, trying to work through these slow starts, it does feel like you guys are finding ways to find your footing in game. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, like at the end of the day, the offensive line is all continuity, and we got a bunch of new guys, and even a system that's a little different from like the guys that have been here before in the past. And so, just kind of keep learning the nuances, and then just keep getting better and better, and find our ways in the game. And at the end of the day, it's the NFL game. Some defenses they might have a good start where they have something planned out and it works. You go into halftime, you got to be able to adjust, and even on just the sideline in between series, you got to be able to adjust. So I think the guys have done a great job on the sidelines and in half, and then we just kind of find a way to start the game like that.
Titans offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill hanging out here with us on 104.5 The Zone before the team heads out for their second day of practice ahead of the Cleveland Browns game. You can hear that game right here on 104.5 The Zone, Titans radio on the call, noon kickoff. For you guys, a lot of success in the play-action passing game against the Chargers, not quite against the Saints. What were you guys able to capitalize against L.A. that maybe New Orleans didn't necessarily allow, or maybe better execution from your perspective?
I think we were just kind of able to just get into those blocks, get those backers to bite, and then kind of open up some holes in the defense there. Versus the Saints, they just do a really good job of recognizing that, and then really good corner play on the outside to be able to kind of just lock on their man and not really bite on those run fakes as much. Versus the Chargers, we were able to get a couple of those bites and then get those safeties to come down, which allowed some of those deep balls to get out there.
With your teammate Chris Hubbard, who obviously spent some time with the Browns, everybody knows what the Browns have on defense, and obviously Titans fans very familiar with the now defensive coordinator there in Jim Schwartz. Has Chris been able to give you any insight that everybody doesn't already know about how difficult Myles Garrett and that Browns front is to handle?
Yeah, Chris has been giving us some insight on Myles and helping out Andre as the tackles, the guys that we're going to have a majority of time when he's rushing. They have kind of brought in a bunch of new defensive linemen. I think on the interior they got one guy returning, and then on the outside they just kind of got Myles. So they really only got 2 guys that I know of that are returning and kind of been there before. Other than that, they got Zadarius Smith coming in from another team. They got Dalvin Tomlinson. They got Maurice Hurst on the inside. They got a bunch of guys that are new, so it's kind of just getting used to those guys. But I mean, what they want to do is they want to be at attack front. Those defensive linemen are gonna just jet forward like a 40-yard dash, and they're gonna try to create havoc that way, and then just kind of be as good players as they are. So we just got to be able to eliminate them getting in the backfield, and then just hopefully move forward and stuff. And so that way we can also get to those backers who are going to try to peel us off doubles. So, I mean, they got a good defensive scheme, and they got really good players for that. But we just kind of got to do our job of making sure that we can, get on them and don't let them cause havoc that way.
Those wide 9 alignments that Schwartz tends to use with the ends, and given that you've played tackle as well as on the interior across the course of your career, Daniel, what for the audience, can you kind of articulate what strain that is meant to put on an offensive line, and how you kind of combat that as a unit?
I mean, it puts a lot of strain, especially in even just run blocking. I mean, a tackle's got to go to a wide 9. That guy has a lot of space. whether he just beats you up the field and then gets your shoulders turned to where he can turn that edge, or whether you go too wide and then he's able to slip under. They can really cause some damage that way in some runs, especially open side runs where we're going to the weak side and that tackle's kind of one-on-one on that defensive end. But I mean, what we got to do is just be able to use our receivers to kind of get them in an alignment to where they have to fear toss crack. They got to fear a bunch of different things like chip blocks if it was pass game, and kind of get those ends thinking, and then just kind of attack them in multiple different ways. So then they're kind of more thinking about it than they are just playing ball. So the more we can get in those guys' heads, that'd be the best thing.
Daniel Brunskill hanging out here with us on 104.5 The Zone. We're grateful for him taking a little bit of time before they head out to practice today. We have been conditioned here in Tennessee for so long, Daniel, to see Derrick Henry getting volume as the lead running back. It doesn't really happen anywhere else like that across the league. Nick Chubb has obviously had individual success, but they've had years where they've done really, really well with him paired with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt obviously back on the roster. But as an offensive lineman, having played in San Francisco where the scheme is obviously very run heavy, how, and I know Derrick and Tajay Spears are now working as a complementary backfield in ways that I think are good for everybody involved. But to kind of see a running back who's capable of that volume and sustaining that year over year, how unique is that from your standpoint?
I mean, it's definitely unique. I think it's kind of just come down to where, like, Tajay's done really well, and he's earned the right to get, some carries. I mean, he's made some amazing plays in those games, and he had a really good preseason. At the same time, it's awesome to be able to just kind of take care of Derrick. I mean, we would like to make a deep run, and so to have that, you want your guys healthy and you want them at their best, and so being able to limit those hits by not having to have him take like every single carry would be awesome. Be able to have him later in the season when we need him most, and to be able to have him at full health. I mean, that's the biggest thing in this game, and so I think that's kind of just all those things together just kind of makes it to where those guys they both deserve carries and they're both doing really well. And then the best we can do to just keep all those guys healthy, so that way we can, later in the season, we have those guys ready for us.
He's Titans offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill, kind enough to spend a little time here with us on 104.5 The Zone this afternoon. Daniel, I appreciate that. Continued health and success, and thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you very much.